Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Southern Gal True Crime. Or if this is your first time here, thank you so much for joining us today. It is Missing Person Monday, and as you can see on the slide, I have 10 missing person cases from Florida that range from around 1974 all the way up to the 2000s. So let's get started. First, we have Patricia Elaine Action. Patricia went missing on May 26, 1978 from Clearwater, Florida. She is classified endangered missing. She is a white female, 25 years old at the time she disappeared, so she would be 71 years old today. At the time she disappeared, she was 5'4", 96 pounds. She was last seen wearing a beige jumpsuit with pink, green, and yellow stripes, and she was also carrying a light brown shoulder purse with 3 compartments. She was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and she was supposed to be taking medication at the time that she disappeared. She has brown hair, blue eyes. She does have a scar on her abdomen. Her nicknames are Patsy and Patty, and she may use her married name Woodyard, and her blood type is 0 or O. Action was last seen leaving the Ramada Inn Lounge on US 19 North and State Route 60 in Clearwater at around 11:30 p.m. on May 26, 1978. She had moved in with her parents 6 weeks before her disappearance, after she had filed for divorce and was forced to drop out of Stetson University due to an illness. She had recently taken a job at the Kapok Tree Inn. She had just gotten her paycheck and had gone out to the Ramada Inn Lounge that night after work to celebrate with some friends. After about a half an hour or so in the lounge, during which time she had just half a drink, Action said that she was going to go to the bathroom and she would return in a few minutes. She did take her purse with her. The employees did not notice anything amiss at the time. She never returned to her friends. She never came home, and she has never been heard from again. Now, her parents stated that they did not attempt to control her life, but she was always good about keeping them informed about where she was, what she was doing. Her parents reported her missing the day after she was last seen. So that is good that she was reported very quickly. Now, 4 days after she disappeared, her car, which was a white 2-door 1969 Chevrolet Malibu, turned up abandoned on US 19 in Tarpon Springs, Florida. She had been raised in that city. She had graduated from Tarpon Springs High School. Her purse was not inside the vehicle when it was found. Unfortunately, there was a substantial amount of type O blood splattered inside the vehicle, on the front seat, floorboard, and on her keys. They say there was enough blood to indicate that someone had sustained a severe, possibly fatal injury. Authorities could not determine whether it was her blood, although it was her type. Her shoes were also inside the car, but there was no indication of her whereabouts at the scene. She is considered to be missing under suspicious circumstances, and foul play is suspected in her case, and it remains unsolved. So if you have any information regarding Patricia's disappearance, please contact the Clearwater Police Department at 727-562-4080. Next, we have Robin Melanie Adler. Let me get her information. Robin went missing on May 25th of 1983 from Loxahatchee, Florida. Also considered endangered missing, she is a white female. She was 22 years old at the time of her disappearance. She would be 63 years old today. At the time she went missing, she was 5'4", 110 pounds. last seen wearing just a shirt and blue jeans. She has brown hair and blue eyes. So Robin was last seen on May 25th, 1983 in Loxahatchee, Florida. She had visited her boyfriend in that city that day, and she was last seen driving her red 1977 Toyota Celica on C Road. She had plans to meet some friends at Bennigan's Lounge in Tamarack, Florida, but she never arrived there, and she has never been heard from again. 4 days after her disappearance, her car was found. The battery had been removed. It had been crashed into a tree on a dirt road at the end of 110th Avenue North, where the road meets M Canal. Now, this is apparently a very remote area north of Royal Palm Beach, Florida. There was a sheet of directions in her handwriting for finding C Road in Loxahatchee, several miles southwest from where her car was found. Authorities stated that there was no evidence that anyone had been severely injured in the car crash, and they did search M Canal for Robin's body, but they did not find anything. Robin lived in the 8300 block of Sands Point Boulevard in Tamarack at the time that she went missing, and her case is being investigated as a homicide. So if you have any information regarding Robin's disappearance, please contact the Broward Sheriff's Office at 954-321-4735. Next, we have Jarus Adside. And Jarus went missing on October 18th, 2001 from Miami, Florida. He is classified endangered missing. He is a black male. He was just 1 year old at the time he disappeared, so he will be 23 years old today. At the time he disappeared, he was around 2 feet tall, 25 pounds. He was last seen wearing a diaper and a red, white, and blue Tommy Hilfiger shirt. He has brown hair and brown eyes. His nicknames are Kiri and Keisha, and some accounts spell his first name Jakieries. And at the time that he disappeared, his hair was styled in cornrows. So Jarus's parents were both in jail in October of 2001, and he was being looked after by a babysitter named Gwendolyn Brown. Brown told police that he was abducted by 3 unidentified men during an early morning robbery of her home near Southwest 296th Street and 158th Avenue in Miami on October 18th, 2001. She said the robbery took place while she was walking her teenage daughter to the bus stop, and upon returning home, Brown was confronted by the 3 armed suspects, and she and her live-in boyfriend, Jeffrey Cochran, were bound with duct tape while the robbers demanded money. Brown and Cochran later heard a single gunshot, and when they were able to free themselves, the house had been ransacked, and Jarus and several items were missing, and the baby Jarus was never seen again. Composite sketches of the 3 abductors are posted. I did not have room to include them on the slide, but you can look up Jarus's information on the Charley Project if you want to take a look at the composite sketches. It says they should all be considered armed and dangerous. A blood-stained mattress and blood-soaked sheets were found in the home after Jarus's abduction. There were blood stains in other areas of the house as well. The blood was Jarus's, unfortunately, and investigators believe that he may have been severely injured or killed. Investigators have publicly expressed skepticism of Brown and Cochran's account. They did not call the police for 2 hours after Jarus's alleged abduction, and they stated it took that long to get themselves free. Several grams of illegal substance were found in the residence after Jarus's presumed abduction, and Brown and Cochran were both arrested on substance charges. Cochran did have an extensive criminal history. Jarus's mother states that she does believe the couple's story. However, she thinks someone took Jarus and is looking after him, and that he may still be alive. Jarus has never been heard from again, and his abductors have not been identified, and this case remains unsolved. So if you have any information on little Jarus's possible abduction, or any information about the two people that were looking after him on that day, please call the Miami-Dade Police Department at 305-471-8477 or 305-418-7200. Next, we have Teresa Armanda Alfonso. Let me quickly get her information up. Teresa went missing on August 20th, 1974 from Marathon, Florida. Also considered endangered missing. She is an Hispanic female. She was just 12 years old at the time of her disappearance. She would be 62 years old today. At the time she disappeared, she was around 5'2" to 5'5" tall and 115 to 120 pounds. She was last seen wearing a blue shirt, brown pants, and high-heeled shoes. She has light brown hair and brown eyes. She had a small gap between her upper front teeth at the time of her disappearance. She has a small scar below her buttocks. She did have a tonsillectomy. Her ears are pierced. Her nickname is Terry, and some agencies may spell her first name Theresa, and her last name Alfonso, Alfonzo, or refer to her as Terry Riggs. So Teresa was dropped off at the now defunct or closed Marathon movie theater in Marathon, Florida on August 20th, 1974 with her friend Cynthia Gooding. They had planned to hitchhike to a party that day, but neither of the girls has ever been seen again. Cynthia did have a history of dropping out of sight for a few days at a time, and because of this, investigators initially believed that she and Teresa had run away from home together. Teresa had no history as a runaway, and her family never believed she had done that she had run away. Her family described her as a very timid, shy young girl who wasn't having problems at home, and wouldn't have gone anywhere with someone that she did not know. And investigators no longer believe the pair left of their own volition. So apparently now officials believe that neither Cynthia nor Teresa, even though Cynthia did have a history of dropping out of sight, authorities don't believe that even Cynthia ran away. They apparently believe both of the girls may have been abducted. Teresa's mother is still alive and living in the area, as are many of her siblings, and they have never stopped looking for her. She was a student at Stanley Switlick Elementary School in 1974, and she lived with her family on 92nd Street. Unfortunately, the police files for Teresa and Cynthia were destroyed in a fire sometime after they vanished, and both of their cases remain unsolved. So if you have any information, and I believe the next missing that I'm going to feature is Cynthia. But if you have any information, please contact the Marathon County Sheriff's Office at 305-296-2424. Next, we have Andrea Darlene Allen. get her information up. Andrea went missing on May 21st, 1982 from West Palm Beach, Florida. She is also classified endangered missing. She is a white female. She was 23 years old at the time that she disappeared. She would be 65 years old today. At the time she disappeared, she was 5 foot tall, around 110 pounds, with blonde hair and green eyes, and she may have used the last name Shapiro. Andrea was last seen in West Palm Beach, Florida on May 21st, 1982. She was a secretary with the Florida Department of Health and Rehabilitative Services. She left work at around 3 p.m. that day, saying that she felt sick. At 11 p.m., an anonymous caller told police that he had seen a woman twice that evening sitting in a vehicle in a grocery store parking lot in the 2500 block of North Dixie Highway. Now, he said that this woman was slumped against the steering wheel as if she was ill. And when the police arrived at the scene a few minutes later, they did find Andrea's vehicle abandoned in the parking lot of a Winn-Dixie store, but she was not inside. Her purse had been left behind in the car, but there was no sign of her. And after that, she has never been heard from again. Unfortunately, these are the only details available in Andrea's case. But if you have any information, please call the West Palm Beach Police Department at 561-822-1900. Next, we have on the information Patrice Lucile Austin. Patrice went missing on June 23rd, 1998 from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, also considered endangered missing. She is a black female. She was just 19 years old at the time of her disappearance. She would be 44 years old today. At the time she went missing, she was 5 foot 5 inches tall, 123 pounds, with black hair and brown eyes. Her nickname is Trece, Trece. She does have a tattoo on her abdomen and a tattoo on her right shoulder. And some agencies spell her name Patrace. So Patrice was last seen in Fort Lauderdale on June 23rd, 1998. She got into a green Mazda 62 with a man named Lucius Boyd. Lucius sat in the passenger seat, and he let Austin Patrice drive, and the car belonged to Lucius Boyd's girlfriend. The Boyd and the Austin were planning to go to Winter Haven, Florida, which is 200 miles away. Austin stated that she planned to return the same day, and she did not pack any clothes or personal belongings. Lucius Boyd did return several days later, but Patrice was not with him, and she has never been heard from again. Lucius Boyd said that, according to him, that Patrice met 2 other men on the trip, and she went away with them. Lucius Boyd was a known substance addict with violent tendencies in the 1990s. A photograph is included. The smaller inset picture that you see there on the slide is Lucius Boyd. He was charged in the 1993 death of a male acquaintance, but he pleaded self-defense and he was acquitted. And he was also charged with and acquitted of SA twice. Boyd's conviction of the 1998 murder of Danya DaCosta after Patrice's disappearance, and he was sentenced to the DP. He is presently incarcerated on Florida's death row. He is a suspected serial offender, and authorities believe that he may be involved in as many as 10 unsolved disappearances and homicides, including the 1999 disappearance of Danielle Zaycott. He has not been charged in any other disappearances or deaths, however. Patrice and Boyd did know one another. They did socialize occasionally, but they did not date. Patrice is a high school dropout. She lived with her sister and helped care for her sister's children in 1998. She is described as an outgoing young woman, and her disappearance remains unsolved, and foul play is most definitely suspected. So if you have any information on Patrice's disappearance, any information on Lucius Boyd, please contact the Fort Lauderdale Police Department at 954-761-5700. Next, we have Danielle Marie Zaycott. This is another suspected possible victim of Lucius Boyd. Danielle went missing on February 25th of 1999, also from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. She is a white female. She was just 25 years old at the time of her disappearance. She will be 50 years old today. At the time she disappeared, she was 5'6", 105 pounds. She was last seen wearing a gold ring set with small diamonds, sandals, and possibly a sleeveless or short-sleeved fuchsia and plaid white dress or a black dress and a denim jacket. She has brown hair and hazel eyes. At the time she disappeared, she had facial acne scars. She had horizontal stretch marks on her back and a birthmark on the back of her thigh. Her ears were pierced, and her last name is pronounced Zocco. So Danielle, her boyfriend, Brian O'Connor, told authorities that he left her apartment in Northeast Fort Lauderdale on February 25th, 1999, between 9:30 and 10:30 p.m. O'Connor stated that Zaycott said that she planned to watch television and drive to the grocery store around 1 a.m. in the morning. An employee at the Winn-Dixie store on the 1800 block of East Commercial Boulevard recalled that Zaycott entered the building that evening. She purchased a loaf of bread, and after that, she was never seen or heard from again. Danielle's loved ones became concerned when she failed to report for work at Argenti Designer Jewelers. O'Connor discovered her Danielle's blue 1993 Chevy Cavalier with Florida license plates parked in the Winn-Dixie parking lot on February 27th of 1999, which was 2 days after her disappearance. The vehicle was locked, and there was no sign of Danielle at the scene. Now, O'Connor did cooperate with authorities, and he is not considered a suspect in Danielle's case. There has not been any activity on her credit cards or bank accounts since February of 1999. When she disappeared, she left her apartment lights and television turned on. Her family has said that it is very uncharacteristic of Danielle to leave without contacting anyone. Foul play is suspected in her case. A tip regarding her disappearance surfaced shortly after she was last seen. A witness claimed that Danielle was speaking to a well-dressed African-American man outside of the Winn-Dixie store on the night she vanished. This is possibly Lucius Boyd. Not confirmed, but it possibly could have been Lucius Boyd. Also included his picture in her slide, the small inset picture. The informant said that Danielle entered a white sports car with the man and sped away. The lead never panned out. The witnesses statement has never been confirmed. Danielle's parents and the police do suspect that Lucius Boyd may know something about her case. As I stated in the case before, Lucius Boyd is a known addict with violent tendencies. He was convicted in June 2002 of the assault and homicide of Donia DaCosta. As I said before, he was charged in a 1993 homicide of an acquaintance, but he pleaded self-defense and he was acquitted. And once again, Boyd is a suspected serial offender and is the last person known to have been with Patrice Austin, who disappeared in 1998 and was never found. He has not been, once again, he has not been charged with any other disappearances or homicides. While investigating Danielle's disappearance, investigators discovered once again that she and Lucius Boyd were acquainted with each other. Danielle worked at a printing company that did business with a funeral home that was owned by Lucius Boyd's family. Boyd has refused to be interviewed about Danielle's case, and he is being called a person of interest. Not a suspect, just a person of interest. Danielle's case remains unsolved. She was employed as a graphic designer at the time of her disappearance. So once again, if you have any information concerning Danielle's disappearance, containing any information pertaining to Lucius Boyd, please contact the Fort Lauderdale Police Department at 954-761-5544 or 954-761-5512. Next, we have Angela Renee Ambrosio. Let me grab her information. Angela went missing on November 19th, 1986 from Lakeland, Florida. She is a white female, 19 years old at the time that she disappeared. She would be 56 years old today. At the time she disappeared, she was 5 foot to 5'2", 95 pounds. She was last seen wearing a pink, blue, and white checkered blouse, blue jeans, and flip-flops. And she was also carrying a maroon purse. She has blonde hair and blue eyes. She does have a dog bite scars on her left leg and a scar on her abdomen, and her ears were pierced. Angela was last seen by her estranged husband, Avelino D. Abel Ambrosio, on November 19th, 1986. Abel stated they got into an argument because she wanted him to take her to Tampa, Florida, and he did not want to. He dropped her off at the Church's Fried Chicken restaurant on Memorial Boulevard in Lakeland, Florida, between 3:30 and 4 p.m. After that, she was never seen or heard from again, and her sister did report her missing. Angela is originally from Ohio. She left behind 2 children when she vanished. One was an infant, and the other was only 2 years old. She was having marital problems at the time of her disappearance, but she had not given any indication that she planned to leave. Abel obtained a divorce from her almost a year after she was last seen. Since Angela's disappearance, she has not used her social security number. Authorities believe that she did meet with foul play, but little evidence is available in her case. So once again, if you have any information regarding Angela's disappearance, if you may have seen her or her estranged husband, Avelino D. Abel Ambrosio, please call the Polk County Sheriff's Office at 863-533-0344 or 800-266-0344. Next, we have Lillian Annette Anderson. Lillian went missing on August 1st, 1974 from Jacksonville, Florida. This is considered a non-family abduction. She was a white female. She was just 11 years old at the time of her disappearance. She will be 61 years old today. At the time that she disappeared, she was 4 foot 4 inches tall, 61 pounds. She was last seen wearing a purple blouse and purple shorts. She did suffer from a thyroid condition and required a daily medication. She had brown hair and blue eyes. Lillian goes by her middle name Annette, and many agencies do refer to her by that name. Annette and her sister Mylette both disappeared from Jacksonville, Florida on August 1st, 1974. Their mother and older sister had left them alone at home at approximately 6 p.m. while she went to care for a sick relative. Their mother called them at around 7 p.m. to check on them. Everything seemed normal during the conversation, but when their aunt called later on, no one answered the phone. The girl's father, who was a commercial fisherman, was supposed to arrive home from work at 7 p.m., but he got delayed by about 20 minutes due to boat issues. And when he did get home, Annette and Mylette were nowhere to be found. Neighbors said that they saw a white car in the driveway of the Anderson residence sometime during between 6 and 7 p.m., but nobody saw anything suspicious and no one saw the girls leave. Nothing was missing from the house except a baby doll that Mylette owned. The doors to the home were shut but not locked, and there were no indications of forced entry. The family's small dog, which usually had the run of the house, was shut up in a bedroom. It's unclear whether maybe the girls had put the dog in the bedroom or if possibly somebody came in to possibly abduct the girls. The offender may have put the dog in the bedroom, but that has not been confirmed one way or the other. Mylette and Annette were never heard from again after that point. Now, that year, several young girls between 6 and 12 years old had disappeared from the Jacksonville area. The first was Jean Marie Schoen of Virginia. Suzanne Helm vanished on September 27th, and Rebecca Ann Green disappeared on October 12th. Virginia's partially clothed body was found in a shallow grave a month after her disappearance. She had GSW to the head. Rebecca's skeletal remains were found 3 years later. They had washed up on the shore of Little Fort George Island at the mouth of the St. Johns River. Both girls were 12 years old when they passed. Jean's body and the Anderson sisters' remains, however, have never been found. Because the abductions happened in different parts of the city, authorities don't believe that they are related. One suspect in their cases was John Paul Knowles, who was a serial offender. And the smaller picture, inset picture you see on the slide is John Paul Knowles. He was killed by police later in 1974. Ima Sanders, whose body wasn't identified until 2011, is another presumed victim of his. Now, Knowles claimed that he took the lives of 35 victims. After his death, they did find tape recordings where Knowles said that he had abducted 2 girls matching the description of the Anderson sisters. He had taken their lives and buried them in a remote area at the west end of Commonwealth Avenue. The children's father subsequently filed a wrongful death suit against his estate, against Knowles' estate. However, Knowles was known for inflating his number of victims, and the police now believe his confession was probably false and he was not involved in the sisters' cases. Annette and Mollett were both students at Louis Sheffield Elementary in 1974, and their cases remain unsolved. So if you have any information about the disappearances of the sisters, Annette and Mollett, please contact the Jacksonville Police Department at 904-630-1157. Next, we have Lucile Aron Bureau. Or Lucile Aron Bureau. Lucile went missing on June 2nd, 2007 from Miami, Florida. She is considered endangered missing. She is an Hispanic female. She was 23 years old at the time she disappeared. Today she would be 40 years old. At the time she disappeared, she was 4'11" to 5'4" tall and 100 to 110 pounds. Last known clothing was a long nightgown. Lucile did suffer from schizophrenia and depression. At the time of her disappearance, she was taking an antidepressant medication to control her condition, and she also had a history of abusing many illegal substances. She had brown hair and brown hazel eyes. She does have a scar on her left hand, a scar below her left knee. She did have a cesarean section scar on her lower abdomen, freckles on her shoulders and face, and a musical notes tattooed on her back. Her nickname is Lily, and many accounts refer to her by that name. She may use the alias names Ashley Green and or Amber Hall. Her ears were pierced, and she had previously broken her right wrist and her back. So Lucile was last seen on June 2nd, 2007 in Miami, Florida. Her boyfriend, Christian Pacheco, stated that they had an argument and that she walked out of their apartment in the 7600 block of Southwest 82nd Street at around 2 a.m., wearing only her nightgown and no shoes. Apparently, according to him, she was carrying 2 bungee cords, which is very unusual, and she did leave behind her purse and her cell phone. After that, she was never seen or heard from again. Pacheco did report her missing 24 hours later. He says that before he went to the police, he did search the neighborhood for hours looking for her. Lucile had no car at the time of her disappearance, and she usually used public transportation to get around. Lucile's loved ones stated that it is uncharacteristic of her to leave without warning. They did not believe that she would have abandoned her young son. She was in danger of losing her parental rights due to substance abuse, although she had entered a drug treatment program in order to keep her son. Her urine had tested positive for illegal substances a few days before her disappearance, and the family court judge warned her that she would lose her son if she did not complete the treatment program. Now, in spite of the positive test, Lucile did testify under oath and denied any substance use, and it is possible that someone introduced them to her system without her knowledge. Although they were considered married, Lucile's relationship with Pacheco was troubled, and she reportedly told her mother that she was afraid of him. Both of them apparently abused substances frequently, The police were called to the residence twice in response to arguments, but no arrests were made. Since Lucile's disappearance, Pacheco has been arrested several times on substance charges. Lucile was born in San Francisco, California, and she moved to Miami as a baby. Her parents divorced when she was very young, and she has had no contact with her father since then. As a child, she starred for several seasons on the Sábado Gigante show, which is a Spanish language weekly variety show that was broadcast to millions of viewers throughout the Americas. According to her mother, Lucile began using substances in her freshman year of high school, and she was addicted to H within a few years. She did drop out of Hollywood Hills High School at the age of 16, but she did obtain her GED several years later. Since Lucile's disappearance, there have been reported sightings of her in the Miami area, but none of these accounts were confirmed, and her case remains unsolved. So if you have any information regarding Lucile or her boyfriend, Christian Pacheco, please contact the Miami-Dade Police Department at 305-418-7200. All right, guys, those were our 10 missing person cases today. All of them were from Miami, ranging from the 1970s all the way up to the 2000s. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit that like button before you leave. Please share this video. That is the most important thing that you can do, is share these videos to help get this information out to as many people as possible, as quickly as possible. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. I do a Missing Person Monday video every Monday. I do a Case of the Week every week. And also sometimes during the week, I will feature a particular missing person, urgent missing person, or a homicide file or a missing person file video. Usually during the weekends, I will do live streams during the weekend. Just lots of things that I feature. So until next time, please take care of yourselves, take care of each other, be careful out there, and I will see you next time. Thanks, guys.